Hi, welcome to FairwayD.com, and my channel here on YouTube is FairwayD. So today I'm going to go over how to catalog your numbers from 0 to 100 yards. The way that I learned this was I wound up playing a round of golf and I was just a single, and I wound up getting paired with 3 other guys. One of the other guys that I wound up riding with was an older gentleman, and his name was John, and he was a solid golfer. I think he was a 3 handicap, but every time we were on the tee box, when I teed off, I was probably 60, 70, 80 yards past him every single time. And when it came down to the end of the hole, he was either putting for par or birdie every single time. And by the end of the round, he beat me into the ground. I think he shot a 73 and I wound up shooting an 80 that day. And I wound up asking him, he was just fantastic from 100 yards down. He was lethal. So I wound up asking him, because every time he swung the club, he looked exactly the same. And so I asked him, I said, how did you develop that swing? And he said he was out in Europe one time and taking a lesson, and this teaching pro taught him this swing. So he showed it to me, and I've been working on it ever since, and it's changed my game from 100 yards down. So after I've done that, I wound up teaching some of my friends what it was, and it's helped their game tremendously too. So I thought I'd put a video out and see if it'll help your game, and if it does, that's why I'm doing this. So let's get into the fundamentals of the swing, and I'll kind of give you my thoughts on the swing. And if you yourself already have if you feel comfortable with your swing that you have in your short game, I still think that there's a benefit to cataloging all of your numbers from 0 to 100 if you haven't already done that, because it takes the guesswork out of your short game, which is really the scoring distance is 0 to 100. It's the make or break part of everybody's game, and probably anybody watching this knows this. So if you have a swing that you're already comfortable with and you just want to catalog your numbers, this is the way to do it. And if you want to try and adapt this swing, I would suggest for you to. It will really help your game. So on that, the way I think of this is I use a clock system. So in the clock system, my feet are 6 o'clock. So as you pull the club back, the gauge to the different numbers on the clock, 7, 8, 9 o'clock, is from, if I'm right-handed, is my left arm. So it's not the club, it's your arm. So when I pull it back to 7, my 7 feels like about here. My 8 feels like about here, and my 9 feels about here, close to horizontal, maybe not perfectly horizontal, but as far as you can pull it back without your swing breaking down. So kind of the fundamental of the swing is you're going to put your elbows into your rib cage, and you're basically going to lock them into your ribs. And then you're going to bend down and then find a good posture, and you're going to keep these elbows locked into your ribs. Okay? So I would suggest to just first, before you start hitting balls, just get used to the swing. My object is when I practice this, and I practice this a lot, I line the ball up just off of the inside of my right foot. So I try to put about 60% weight on my left foot, maybe 70%. And when I swing this, my object is to drive the ball into the ground. It's always my object, and I try to hit it right in the center of the club. Those two things are vital. And what I also do is I open my feet up just a little bit. I open my stance just a little bit, and then I line this up right off my right foot swing it through, and I drive it into the ground, and then just rotate your hips and your upper body toward your target. So I really find that I hit my best shots if I have a slow backswing, push it straight away. I don't pull it inside. I literally push it straight away and then drive the ball into the ground. And you can hear it. You can feel it when you're hitting the ball first and you're just smashing it into the ground. You don't have to swing it hard. You just have to hit it properly. So one of the things that I really focus on when I'm doing this is keeping my head still, driving it in the ground, and rotating my hips toward my target. This will, if you practice this, what you'll find out of this is how repeatable it is and consistent, and you can hit the ball straight, which straight in this is really why you do this, is really why I do it, because you can have all of those little odd distances around the green, 30, 40, 50 yards, 20 yards. And, before I cataloged and developed my swing in this, when I was always at those numbers, you just have to guess at how hard you want to swing and what club to use. So this takes all of that guesswork out of it. Now when I'm in those yardages, I literally pull out my book and I just looked at all of my clubs and all of the yardages that I have, how far I hit it, and then that's depending on the shot that you're going to have going into that green, sometimes you may want to hit it high and stop it, and other times you may want to hit it low and have it run up to the hole. So you just have to determine what shot shape you want, and then you're just literally going to pick what club it is and what time on the clock you're going to pull your swing back to. But quite literally, the swing you develop through this, you're going to swing that same swing every single time. You're just pulling it back further or using a different club. It's always the same swing. That's the beauty of this swing. So right now, you'll start to develop a pattern, and you'll start seeing that once you get comfortable with the swing and you start hitting the ball into the ground, sometimes you might hit it a little fat, sometimes you're going to hit it a little thin. But the thing that probably won't change too much is it still will go straight. So the more you practice it, the more you'll hit it better. So, this is a very compact, tight little swing, and there's no wrists involved. You're not using your wrists. You're just literally rotating your body and pounding the ball into the ground. It's a very simple little swing. So let me get this started here, and I'll show you a few swings and get you guys going. All right, so ball just off my right foot, 60% weight on my left foot, straight back, drive it in the ground, rotate your hips towards your target.
Carry is one. Ready. Carry is 12.6 yards.
All right, my machine's acting a little goofy. I have really bad weather today, so that brings me to another point. If you go to catalog all your numbers and you start trying to develop this, you're going to have to get somewhere around you that has a simulator, either a TrackMan or flight scope or something, and then you're gonna have to rent a bay for an hour or 2 hours or however long it takes you. But so what I did was, when I cataloged all my numbers, my wedges I have are basically, I have a 48 degree, a 54, and a 58. And then, so obviously I did all of those three, but then I did my pitching wedge, my 9-iron, 8-iron, and I actually did my 7-iron, but in these type of shots, I don't use my 7-iron very often. So if you, for all practical purposes, you could probably do your 9 wedge and then all of your wedges this way and just develop this system. So right now I have a 54, so I'm gonna try and get hopefully my machine will cooperate here and you can kind of see the shots. See if I can get this thing woke up.
Carry is 12.4 yards.
Okay.
Ready.
All right, so I'm gonna just take some easy swings and I'm just gonna go to 7 o'clock with my left arm and just see if I can try and keep it consistent.
Carry is 17. Ready.
Okay. See if I can get this thing going. When I do this, I do like to open my feet up a little bit. It just seems to help me strike the ball better, and it makes it easier for me to rotate my hips through the swing. Weight left, drive it in the ground.
Ready. Carry is 12.2 yards.
All right, now this thing's working. Let's see if I can get some shots going here. All right, 7 o'clock, just off your right foot, drive it in the ground, rotate.
Carry is 16.1 yards. Ready. Carry is 12.5 yards. Ready. Carry is 14.9 yards. Ready.
Weight forward, drive it in the ground, rotate.
Carry is 12.8 yards. Ready. Carry is 14.9 yards. Ready. Carry is 14.1 yards.
Okay,
Ready.
so you can kind of start to see a pattern here. What happens is, if your numbers are going to be a little different, until you start getting used to the swing and how you're striking the ball has a big part of how far the ball goes and how much it spins and the rollout. So that leads me to another thought here. So I'm using a flight scope here, and I'm going to make another video on kind of my setup so that I can help point you guys in the right direction if you want to have a little setup of your own. And I kind of did this on a dime, but so on my numbers up here, there's basically, it's just showing 4 or 5 numbers up here, but so it's carry, roll, total yards, and then this calls it lateral, which really that's dispersion. So dispersion is basically whatever your target is how far left or right you are of that. And in this, it shows it as yards. So for me, I always feel like if I'm 3 yards left or right, that's acceptable because 3 yards is basically close to 9 or 10 feet. So I try to get it less than that, but what you'll find in this chipping and in this stroke is that your lateral or your dispersion is very small once you get proficient at it and you get better at it. So let me hit a few more and then we'll go into a couple of other things.
Carry is 15.9 yards. Ready.
Okay, so my dispersion there is 0.6 yards, which is about 2 feet or 1 foot to the right.
Carry is 14.5 yards.
About the same numbers of carry and total and roll. My dispersion is 0.8.
Carry is 13.7 yards.
Okay,
Ready.
carry 13.7, total 19, roll about 5.5, dispersion 0.2. I mean, if you're point anything, you're basically almost straight. And that's what the beauty of this system is even if you hit it a little fat or a little thin, you're still going to be straight and you'll probably put yourself on the green and you'll still be putting. So what I'm going to do is I'll go to 8 o'clock here and then I'll do a 9 o'clock real quick just to show you. But so when you tuck your arms into your ribs here, the reason that 9 o'clock is really kind of my maximum clock number is because once you get beyond 9 o'clock, there's some separation here and that it breaks down the consistency of it. So I literally only do 7, 8, 9 and it works. So I just stick with it. If you find that you can go higher than that, then have at it. But for me personally, that 9 o'clock is the furthest I'll come back. So 7 o'clock.
Carry is 29.6 yards. Ready.
Okay, this is my 54, so 29 carry, basically 30 carry, 36 total, 6 roll with 2 yards to the right. I'll do an 8 o'clock.
Carry is 35.5 yards.
35.5, 5-yard roll, 40 yards total, and my dispersion is 0.0, so basically it's dead straight. This will be my 9 o'clock.
Carry is 39.7 yards.
So basically 47 total yards, 7.7, almost 8 roll, and dispersion is 0.5 of a yard, so a foot and a half to the right. So really, this is really the beauty of this swing, is the dispersion is really the beauty. But obviously the other most important part of this is once you start practicing this and getting used to how far back you're hitting your swing, you'll start getting a pattern of, maybe like here I did my 9 o'clock, it's 39.7. I'll hit another one here.
Carry is 32.6 yards.
Okay, 32.6. The total number is about the same. I just hit that a little thin. So what you'll start finding is maybe you hit it 32 yards and then 30 yards and then 35 yards and then 30 yards and 32 yards. So what I do is at 7 o'clock, I will say, if those are your numbers, I would say I give myself a 5-yard window, 30 yards to 35 yard carry with a 6 to 8 yard roll, and then a total of 35 to 40 yard total. And so that's how I write them down, because that's really the cataloging part of this. Because what you want is you want to know how far that ball is going to roll. You want to know how far it's going to be in the air, get on the ground, and roll out. Is it going to hit on the ground and run? And how far is it going to run? And then how far is your total going to be? Or are you going to hit it high in the air, hit it into the ground, and then it's going to bounce, check, stop. So your roll might only be 1 yard, or it could be, if you're doing it with an 8 iron, your roll's probably going to be 15 to 20 yards. So you're going to choose your club that you're going to hit based off of the situation you're at coming into the green. All right, so let me just show you my, I don't know if you'll be able to see this. I'll try and put this on the bottom of my video. But so these are basically my numbers that I've already cataloged for myself. So this is my 48 degree, my 54, 58 pitching wedge 987. So I literally just put some columns and rows on here, and then I just put 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, and then I gave myself basically, some of these I cut down less than 5 yards, because as I developed my numbers, I started getting them tighter than 5 yards, but I still allow myself 5 yards. So my 48 degree at 7 o'clock, I'm 25 to 30 yard carry, a total of 30 to 35 yards, maybe a little more, but my yard roll, and I just put YR for yard roll, is 6 to 8 yards. So this is cataloging your numbers. This is what you're going to do. So that's why you're doing this. You want to be able to know whatever your yardage is. You're not just picking a club up and guessing how hard you're going to swing it. You're going to know, because you've already gone through every single one of your clubs that you're going to use at that 0 to 60 or 0 to 100 yard number, and then you're picking your ball flight that you want. Then you're taking that club and you're pulling it back to a number on the clock, and it's just that simple. So again, I practice this more. I practice this part of my game probably 70 or 80% of the time, and then I work on putting quite a bit, but really my driving and my irons, I do work on them, but really the bulk of the time that I spend practicing is on this 100 yards in and this shot right here. So this shot with if you do 7, 8, 9 wedge and all your wedges, or just 9 wedge and all your wedges, I find is really, really excellent at 60 yards and below. I'll do another video going from 60 yards to 100 yards. But for now, if you just get proficient at this swing, this will seriously help your game. All right, so 7 o'clock, weight forward, ball off my right foot, slow back swing, drive it in the ground, rotate.
Carry is 12.8 yards.
8 o'clock.
Carry is 35.1 yards. Ready.
It's really almost a pinch shot. Like, you really want to try to drive the ball into the ground. You'll feel it when you hit it properly, because you're hitting the ball first, and if you hit it in the center of your club, it almost feels like you don't hit the ball. 9 o'clock.
Carry is 43.6 yards.
Okay, so here I had a 43, basically a 44 yard carry, 9, almost 10 yard roll with a total of 53.5 yards, but my dispersion is 0.0. So If for no other reason, that is why you're cataloging and swinging this swing, is because the dispersion is so low. If you can keep it under 1 yard, it's basically dead straight, which is exactly what you want if you're coming into a green and you're trying to get it close to the hole. You'll know exactly what you're doing as far as getting the ball as close to the hole as you can. All right, so in closing, I told you guys I'd show you this. So I ordered these off of Amazon, and I think they come in like an 8-pack or a 10-pack or something like that. They're pretty inexpensive. I think they were like $15 or something. But they're just called Golf Scorecard and Statistic Notebook. And then on the top here, it's kind of cardstocky. So I just drew some columns and rows on them, and then I put all of my clubs that I cataloged, and then just did 7, 8, 9 o'clock, and then did all of my yardages for each one of those clock numbers. And then I wrote myself some notes on here just trigger thoughts, so that I call it a clip, but that just tells me to pound it in the ground and put it in the back of my stance, and then elbows in. This is, that's the swing. So what I do is I just took this up to Staples, had it laminated so it didn't get wet. And so I hope the video helped. I know it was long, but honestly, I think this is the most important part of your golf game to really get good at, and it'll really lower your scores. So if it helped, do me a favor, give me a like, and follow me on FairwayD for more tips. Always keep it in the fairway.